Good evening and welcome to Commerce Acceleration 101 live in Liverpool. Thanks for coming. And we know that retailers and wholesalers have a busy time, and getting here in the evening, we thought hopefully that the thought of drinks and nibbles could drag a few more people in, but hopefully we'll have a few more kind of coming in as we start. My name's Tom Glason. I'm one of the directors at Brightpearl. We're the company that's hosting this event tonight. It's going to be a good event. We've got three really great speakers who I'll introduce you to in a moment. But before I do that, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about why we're hosting this event and what we hope you'll get out of it as well. So just to start, really, Brightpearl, and I'll come on to what we do in a moment, but at Brightpearl, we're really passionate about helping independent retailers and wholesalers accelerate the growth of their business more profitably. And about kind of mid last year, we were thinking about how we could come up with a way of sharing best practice ideas and tips across local independent businesses. And we also recognise that in this challenging economic climate, the more that we can get people coming together in forums like this and networking, the better. And we realised that there actually wasn't that many networking events out there for retailers and wholesalers. So we created a little education zone called Commerce Acceleration 101, which is on our website. It's completely free to access. As you can see here, you kind of just sign up on the right-hand side, put in your name and email address, and essentially what that does is subscribe you to a whole lot of useful content, whether that be webinars or ebooks or articles from really covering topics, anything from how to choose an e-commerce platform through to best practice tips around managing inventory and finances. So please do, after this event, go and sign up. You'll then get updates via email when we produce new content, and the content is typically written by industry experts or successful retailers, really just sharing their hints and tips for you. So please go away and sign up for Commerce Acceleration 101. We've also got three speakers today. So today's event is really about bringing some industry experts to come and talk to you. The speakers that we have are Rick Wilson from Beedman Solutions. Rick's sat there at the back. He's going to be talking about gaining maximum profit through maximum control. A really interesting talk from Rick. We also have Dan Brewson from Onya Innovations. This is Dan's set of goodies out here at the front, and he'll be talking to you a little bit about how he went from marketplace to multi-channel and some of the challenges he faced in doing so. And then last but not least, we've got Chris Dawson from Tame Bay. Some of you may have heard of Tame Bay. It's Chris's hugely successful site, which Chris blogs and talks about all sorts of things in the industry, but he's going to be talking about marketplaces and eBay in particular, and the opportunities that brings for independent retailers. So yeah, definitely stick around for Chris at the end. You'll see on your seats, we've got some feedback forms on there. We'd love to get your feedback at the end of the event, just to tell us what we could be doing better, how it could be improved. This is a series of events that we'll be holding throughout the country over the coming weeks, months and years, so we'd love to know how we can make it better. And just on that note, the Bristol event that we did last year, we had some specific feedback that us as a company, Brightpearl, we actually didn't talk about what we did at all throughout the event, and people actually wanted to know what we did. So I don't want to make this a sales pitch, but I will just spend a couple of minutes telling you a little bit about what we do and who we serve and why we exist, really. So I'm going to cover maybe 3 or 4 slides, shouldn't take me more than 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to hand over to Rick to talk about maximising profit through control. So, who are Brightpearl? Well, essentially, for a software company, interestingly enough, we started out selling skateboards back in the late 1990s, actually out of a university bedroom in Sheffield. The co-founders of Brightpearl, guys called Chris and Andy, actually were passionate about longboarding, and like most small business owners, wanted to share that passion with everyone else. So they got into actually hand making these skateboards for friends initially. And to cut a long story short, they took Lush Longboards, as it's called, from being a 1 or 2 employee business to becoming a global brand which actually, when they sold the business, was the third largest of its kind in the world. So a really interesting story. And what they found, though, when they were growing their business, is that they were trying to run their business on Sage, which is an accounting system. But they had a website, and they were selling also B2B through retail shops. And there was an increasing amount of complexity around managing orders and inventory and customers and accounts. And they didn't have any budget, really, for these large enterprise systems like SAP or NetSuite or Channel Advisor. And so they were having to cobble together the spreadsheets that they were using for stock and Sage for their accounts. And they were spending lots of time manually rekeying data from various different systems. And what that meant is they didn't actually have time to spend on the things that they wanted to be doing, which was growing the business, buying new products, and dealing with customers. So they went about building their own system. They were both computer engineers. They studied that at university. And they built, at the time, what was called Pearl. And they actually really attribute the success of Lush Longboards to this system that they built for their own business. And really, that was why they sold it in 2004 to start Brightpearl, as it's called now. And it's been a bit of a journey since then. So the next slide shows you a bit about our history as to where we've gone since that date. In 2008, the company was formally founded. Between 2004 and 2008, Chris and Andy were desperately twisting other businesses' arms to try and use the software, coercing them into it and telling them it wasn't a big risky thing to do. Thankfully, a lot of those customers are still with us today. But we've grown quite a bit. We've now got about 1,200 customers around in about 15 to 20 countries. So kind of a global software business now. And we actually attracted some quite interesting investors in about 2009, some of the top kind of tech VCs, as we call them, and since then have raised, and apologies, this is all in dollars. Since our CEO moved out to the US, we are a UK company, but since our CEO moved out to the US, he seems to like us to talk in dollars now. But so we raised about £9 million in funding to help grow the business, and that's really meant that we could hire these 80 employees, most of which are down in Bristol. In fact, there's about 90 of us now. It's hard to keep up. We seem to be adding new employees every day or two. So we have about 80 down in Bristol and about 10 in San Francisco. And then the really interesting thing is we process around about 450 million worth of revenue for our clients. We're actually aiming to hit, or we're on track to hit the £1 billion dollar mark by the end of this year. It's a really important metric for us because our stated ambition is to help our clients accelerate their growth. And what this measure does is allows us to track whether we're actually achieving that. And to give you an insight, last year, the growth rate of an average Brightpearl retailer was about 36%, versus the industry average for retail of about 4 or 5%. So, we're hopefully going to continue to keep serving our customers and being true to that vision. So that's a little bit about history. I'm just going to move on to why we exist. So what we hear from our clients is that in growing their business, they get increasingly bogged down with manual processes and complexity. And that can be managing orders or stock levels. And essentially, they get less time to do the things that they really want to do. And they're entrepreneurs, they're not administrators, and what they want to be doing is serving customers, finding new products and growing their business. But actually, in growing their business, it's a kind of bit of a catch-22. They suddenly have more admin to do. They're suddenly not able to get the kind of insight that they want from their business, and they're not able to do the marketing and the growth activities that they want to do as well. So in a nutshell, what we do is we help make our clients more efficient by automating a lot of the processes that don't make them any money at all. And then we give them lots of insight around what is making them money, so that they can start spending their time and efforts on the things that do. And Rick will talk in a bit more detail about this concept about, I suppose, wise investments of your marketing money and really tracking how and where your business is being profitable. So that's in a nutshell what we do or why we exist. These are the kind of customers that we serve at the moment. So we are very much focused on the independent kind of SME market. We say 2 to 50 employees, but actually most of our clients have got less than 10 employees, although we do have some now coming to us with 30 or 40 employees. And I think the reason why we attract lots of businesses at the very smaller end of the market is because our kind of pricing makes it affordable for them. It is really retail and wholesale of various shapes and sizes and colours, so not in one particular sector. It can be anything from fashion to consumer electronics through to clothing and sporting goods. And most of our businesses or our clients are actually selling multi-channel, or they want to sell multi-channel. So ultimately they're selling on eBay or Amazon, or they've got a physical shop, or they've got a website as well. And really the reason why I think we have so many clients like this is A, because the growth potential when you're selling multi-channel is so much higher, and Chris Dawson will tell you a little bit more about that later. And B, as soon as you start selling multi-channel, the complexity of your business massively increases, and that's when you need a system, you need software to help you manage that. So that's it. This is the final slide, and this is a bit of an overview of what we do really. Hopefully it makes sense. Essentially we've got the sales channels across the top that we integrate with, and you'll see some well-known names up here like Magento, Shopify, eBay, Amazon, etc. We can actually integrate with any e-commerce platform. But what that means is that rather than having multiple different places where you're managing orders and having to log into various different platforms, Brightpearl is a central hub so that all of your orders are coming into a single application and can be dealt with in a consistent way, right the way through your pick, pack, ship process and fulfillment. We also integrate with carriers as well, so people like DPD and Parcel Force and Royal Mail, which means that all the shipping information can be farmed out to those guys, automating a lot of that stuff. We track all the customer communication so we can really understand who are your repeat customers, what are they buying, how can you market to them, and then we give you marketing tools to allow you to do that, and then track the return on the investment of that marketing. And then inventory levels. A big thing that we hear is people selling on multi-channels have to spend time manually updating their stock levels when they sell things in one place or another. And if they're not updating those stock levels, then often what happens is they double sell, they get stock outs, they have to manage refunds or back orders, and that's complexity and hassle that they don't want. So the inventory management bit of Brightpearl just automatically updates all the stock levels. So if you sell something on your website, your eBay store gets updated, your Amazon site gets updated. Similarly, we have an EPOS functionality, so your physical store gets updated. So you've always got a single version of the truth when it comes to your inventory. And then the really cool bit, a lot of people don't find this cool, but I find it quite cool, is the integrated accounting. So a full purchase order and an invoicing system, which means that there's no rekeying into Sage or QuickBooks or any other accounts application. Everything is being fed through into a double entry bookkeeping system, which massively reduces the cost of things like bookkeepers and accountants, and means that you get the real-time visibility of what your profit and loss is, how your different sales channels are performing, what the marketing spend that you're using is how is that returning for you. So that's really in a nutshell what we do. We're going to be doing some demos at the end if anyone wants to see them. James and Amir, and I think Nikos as well, will be doing some demos, so come and have a look. But I'm going to hand over to Rick now, who will talk to you a little bit about maximising profit, and then enjoy the rest of the evening.